Hi. So I wanted to give some modifications today for a popular pose called downward facing dog, which is something we all do when we do yoga. But it can be really taxing on the wrists. It can be super taxing on the shoulders, tight hamstrings, stacking the bones. There are a lot of moving parts in that piece. But the essence of that posture is in stretching the spine to its length, bringing the breath all the way down into the pelvic floor, finding the most length you can through the back of your body, and feeling super connected into your heart and into your torso and really into the deeper parts of your spine, like through the torso. So for that reason, it's like the most amazing pose. It's like such good medicine for the body, but because it can be so taxing, we aren't doing it correctly because we're, trying to compensate for the wrists or things like that. So I wanted to show you another way to do downward facing dog in the kitchen, on the counter. You can also use a chair or the wall. That's a slightly different modification. This one will be good for the kitchen counter or the back of a chair. So for this posture modification, you're gonna bring the hands to shoulder wide, just like you would if you were on your mat, and feet about hip wide. You want to always be mindful of the position of your toes in downward facing dog. Everything matters, even the tiniest little micro adjustments. So ultimately, we're going to be walking the body back into an L shape. So you can kind of like start to find your form and move back and stretch. And it might feel really nice. Keep those knees soft. It might feel really nice to stretch those hips way back. Okay? We're lengthening out the spine. But let's add in a dimension here of plugging in the shoulders. So I want you to make sure that your shoulders, really you're thinking about the arm bones, the head of this arm bone plugging into its socket, plugging into the heart. Let the shoulder blades become glued to the back of the heart so you can lengthen out the neck. Sometimes when I give those cues, people become really rigid and stuck. Make sure you're not getting like real stiff or real stuck. Keep the energy flowing. So as you're making the adjustments in your body, then find your flow, find your breath. I want you to really feel your way into this posture, not just think your way into it. Slide those shoulder blades onto the back, and then we're gonna externally rotate the arms. So palms are gonna be on the counter. You're gonna turn the elbows down or externally rotate the arms away from center as you're playing with bringing the head of the arm bone into the socket, okay? So there's a finesse there. You don't just follow the instructions and it works perfectly for your body. You follow the instructions and you kind of find that relative position that feels like health. It feels like connection to you, to your body. That's how you really make it your own. Okay, plug in the shoulders, slide the hips back. Keep the knees soft. And then we can tuck the front ribs in, tuck the belly in. And now that we have the soft parts of the abdomen connected, we can bring the breath into the spine. Bring the breath into the spine and feel those hips sliding way back. Keep the arms plugged into the heart. So the arm joints are very stable, but we're finding this beautiful length from the heart all the way down to the arms, keeping the neck nice and long. Don't collapse in the inner shoulder. Keep a slight lift in the inner shoulder, a slight tone in the abdomen, and then you can feel like those hips are reaching way back, thigh bones sliding way back. Every once in a while, just kind of pay attention to the knees, make sure they're right over the ankles. We want the legs to be stacked so you can get that optimal position. We have the pelvic floor wide open. We've got sitting bones moving away from one another. We've got the tailbone reaching back and maybe a little down. The pubic bone is reaching back. So really the pelvis is tipped on its side. And we're kind of, like the pelvic floor is kind of part of the energy of it pulling back, pulling the bottom of the spine back. So as we're plugged the arms into the shoulders, we're pulling the bottom of the spine back with the energy that we bring into the pelvis and the pelvic floor while it's stretched, but we're also lengthening the crown of the head away. Breathe. Once you're there, once you have time and you can connect the whole torso, head to toe, all the way bringing your breath down into the pelvic floor, connecting into that strong and long pelvic floor, then you will bring beautiful spinal health into your posture. But if you're so worried about your shoulders or you're so worried about your wrists, it's gonna be really hard to do that. So I know this was a lot. I hope that you can get into your kitchen counter and give it a try. And if you have questions, post any questions in the comments because I want this to be for you. I want to serve you. Let me know how I can help you. Bye.